Tired of using big clunky polishers that are tough to handle? Say hello to our lightweight 4-in-1 sanding and polishing kit, built specifically to fix common resin art issues like sharp edges, uneven surfaces, and lumpy finishes. After a full year of fine-tuning it for resin artists, we've created a compact machine that's super easy to use and won't wear out your arms. Unlike those heavy machines that strain your wrists, this one's so light that you can use it one-handed. And with the included stand, you get way more stability and comfort while you work. In this video, we'll walk you through how it handles 3 typical resin issues. So let's dive in. Need help putting it together? No worries. We've got a full demo at the end of the video. Before we get started, let's make sure we've got all the tools we need. 1. An N95 mask to keep you from breathing in dust. 2. Goggles to protect your eyes from flying particles. 3. A silicone mat. This helps keep your piece from sliding around. 4. A plastic tablecloth. Throw this over your table to catch any water splashes and make cleanup easier. 5. A waterproof apron to keep your clothes clean and dry. 6. Nitrile waterproof gloves, a must-have for safety. 7. A spray bottle. Fill it with water to lightly mist your piece, which helps keep dust from going airborne. 8. Polishing paste and a cotton cloth. You'll need these during the polishing step. 9. A towel for drying off your piece and wiping up any water on your workspace. Make sure you double check that you've got everything on hand. And now we're ready to jump in. Before we jump into sanding, let's take a minute to get familiar with the different types of sandpaper. There are 10 grit levels in total: 60, 80, 100, 180, 320, 600, 1000, 1500, 2000, and 5000. And as a rule of thumb, the higher the number, the finer the grit. 60 to 100 grit. This is your coarse sandpaper. It's got big, tough particles and packs a punch. It's great for removing serious flaws or rough spots. Just keep in mind, it leaves deep scratches, so it's best used as a first step. 180 to 320 grit. This is medium grit. It smooths out the scratches left by the coarse paper and works well for refining surfaces and getting rid of little burrs. 600 grit. Now we're getting into fine territory. This one's gentler, helps clean up light scratches, and gives your piece a smoother finish, getting it ready for the finer grits. 1000 to 1500 grit. These are very fine. Think of this step like a pre-polish. It starts to bring out the shine while smoothing everything out even more. 2000 to 5000 grit. This is ultra fine sandpaper. When you pair it with your polishing paste, you'll get that gorgeous mirror-like finish. When choosing which grit to start with, always go by how rough or scratched your piece is. And no skipping steps. If you jump ahead too quickly, you'll just make the job harder and longer. Take your time. Sanding is all about patience and progress. Before you start sanding, take a second to look over your piece. This little resin jewelry piece, for example, has an uneven surface, probably from not curing fully, which is why it looks kind of dull and matted. Since it's on the smaller side, I recommend using a 2-inch sanding disc with a buffer pad. Start with 320 grit sandpaper. It's perfect for smoothing out minor rough areas. When you attach the sandpaper, make sure it's centered properly on the buffer pad. If it's off, the Velcro underneath might scratch your piece, and that's the last thing we want. So take a moment to double check the alignment before you get going. This is the host device. It comes with a display screen and 2 buttons. The top button works as both the power and the pause button, while the bottom one is used to switch between the 3 speed settings. To turn it on, just press and hold the power button. You'll see a red number 3 pop up on the screen. That means it's set to speed level 3. You'll also notice the number is flashing. That just means the machine is on, but paused. It won't start spinning right away because there's a built-in safety feature for better control. To start sanding, press the power button again and the number will stop flashing. That's your signal it's running. If you want to change the speed, just tap the lower button to cycle through the speed levels. You'll also see white bars on the screen that show how much battery you have left. It's super simple and really easy to use. When you plug in the power cord, the screen turns green. That means it's in plug-in mode. You can adjust the speed just like before by using the lower button. The higher the number, the faster it spins. Tap the power button once to start and again to pause. Unplug the cord and the screen switches back to red. Here's a quick tip. The DC power cord doesn't charge the machine, it just powers it directly. To actually charge it, you'll need a Type-C cable with a 5-volt 2A output. Even when using it plugged in, make sure there's still some battery power left. If it gets too low, it might shut off without warning. When you're finished, just press and hold the power button to turn the machine off. Here's one thing to keep in mind. If you press too hard or overload the machine, it might stall to protect itself from overheating. If that happens, you'll see a P on the screen. Once it disappears and the screen goes back to normal, you're good to go again. Before you begin sanding, go ahead and lightly spray some water on the surface of your resin piece. This helps reduce airborne dust and makes sanding a lot cleaner. For better control, I recommend using speed setting 2. Now, since this piece is pretty lightweight, sanding it directly on the table isn't the best idea. It might slip or even fly off. You can hold the piece in your hand, but only if it's thick and sturdy enough to get a good grip. Personally, I like to use the sanding base. It holds the piece steady, supports your hands, and helps prevent fatigue. And it's especially useful for thin or small pieces. And remember, keep spraying water as you go to control dust and improve the finish. We're starting with 320 grit sandpaper. Gently press the resin piece against the sandpaper using light pressure. After about 3 minutes, check the surface. Most of the uneven area should be smoothed out by now, though you might still see some small grooves that need more work. After sanding for approximately 3 minutes, the surface has become smooth with a slightly cloudy appearance, but the pattern underneath is still clearly visible. There may be some scratches on the surface. However, don't worry, as these will gradually disappear during the subsequent polishing process. Let's switch to 600 grit sandpaper for fine sanding to eliminate small scratches and enhance the smoothness of the surface. After sanding for about 3 to 5 minutes, we wiped away the dust with a towel. It appears the surface is smoother compared to the last. Now we've switched to 1000 grit sandpaper. At this stage, we're doing fine sanding with a very light touch, focusing mainly on polishing the surface. This step took about 3 minutes, and as a result, the surface became noticeably smoother and the more visible scratches began to fade. Next to the 2000 grit sandpaper, which takes about 3 to 5 minutes. During this process, the surface will become increasingly transparent, and the glossiness will improve compared to the previous step. At this point, which is the 5000 grit ultra fine sandpaper, this one's pretty thin and wears down easily, so if it starts to tear or break, swap it out right away. This step is super important. If your surface isn't smooth enough here, the resin layer won't look good later on. Before you pour on any resin, spray water one last time to clear off the dust, then wipe it dry with a cotton cloth. Any leftover moisture can mess with the curing, so make sure it's completely dry. Finally, just apply a layer of UV resin and cure it under a UV light. And that's it. The full repair takes about 25 minutes, and just like that, your piece is brought back to life. The previously unsuccessful work was revitalized through repairs. This is how the smaller accessories were addressed. Now let's talk about fixing flat resin pieces like coasters. There are 2 common problems you might run into. First, resin drips and little bumps on the bottom of the coaster after coating, which can stop it from sitting flat at the table. Second, ripples on the surface, usually caused by curing in a space with too much humidity. Since we're working with a larger area this time, we'll switch to handheld sanding using a 3-inch sanding disc and buffer pad. This sanding disc is made to be tougher and give you better sanding performance. It's also easy to remove. Just pull it out vertically. When you install a new one, line it up with a hex-shaped connector and press it on straight. Just a heads up, if you don't have much arm strength, sanding by hand with a 3-inch disc might feel a bit tiring, so keep that in mind. Before sanding, don't forget to spray the coaster with water. Start with 60 grit sandpaper. Its rough texture works great for quickly removing raised spots or excess resin. Set your machine to speed 2. Since the disc is larger, speed 3 might be too fast and harder to control. And when you're holding the machine, avoid gripping it from too high up. It can slip around. Hold it lower down, closer to the base for better control. After about 5 minutes, the surface should be nice and flat, but there'll still be some visible scratches, and that's okay. We'll polish those out later. This time, I used the DC power cord so I could sand longer without worrying about battery life. You'll probably notice a thick layer of dust on the sandpaper when you're done. Just rinse it off with water and it's good to go for the next round. Now just keep sanding through the grits from 80 all the way up to 5,000. As you move through each step, use circular motions for a more even finish. Also, make sure to wipe away water and dust with a towel as you go. It'll help speed up the polishing and give you a smoother surface. Once you've gone through all the grits, rinse the coaster with clean water and dry it off with a towel. And yes, a super smooth, clean-looking surface. Since we're working on the bottom of the coaster, there is no need to coat another layer with resin. This whole sanding process takes about 45 minutes in total. Now let's look at how to fix minor surface flaws on the top side of the coaster. Start with 800 grit sandpaper, and just like before, work your way up gradually to 5,000 grit. After sanding, make sure to clean the surface thoroughly. At this point, the surface might still look a bit cloudy, and that's totally normal. You'll need to do a bit more polishing to bring back that clear, glassy look. The whole sanding process usually takes about 30 minutes. Now, if you don't have any polishing paste at home, don't worry. You can also repair the surface using resin. First, apply resin tape all around the edges of the coaster. Then let the mixed resin sit until it reaches about 42 degrees Celsius, and that's around 108 degrees Fahrenheit, before you pour it over the top. Once it's fully cured, the surface will be smooth, shiny, and just like new. Alright, now let's tackle a resin sphere. This one has some pretty noticeable seams along the sides and bottom. To fix that, we'll start with the grinding wheel. It has strong cutting power and can quickly remove big imperfections and uneven areas. Please note that this step will leave deep scratches, so we'll need to follow up with finer sanding and polishing to smooth it all out. Also, since this piece isn't ideal for recoating with resin, we're going to restore the finish using polishing paste instead. Install the grinding wheel on the base and attach the dust cover to prevent splashes from water and debris during sanding. Set the machine to speed level 3 for optimal performance. Line up the excess resin with the grinding wheel and press gently. Keep adjusting your angle as needed, and don't overdo it. Just take off what you need. Once the extra resin is removed, you'll probably still see scratches, and don't worry, that's normal. We'll get rid of those with finer grits in the next steps. Now switch over to sandpaper. Start from 60 grit and work all the way up to 5,000 grit. As you go, make sure to rotate the ball continuously. This helps make sure you're sanding every part evenly. The buffer pad does a great job wrapping around the curved surfaces, so it's perfect for this kind of shape. After using 60 to 100 grit, the surface will look scratched and cloudy. Next, move to the medium grit. Start with 180 and go up to 320 grit. This stage should take around 15 minutes, and by the end of it, most of the big scratches should be gone. Now, grab your 600 grit sandpaper for detailed sanding. At this point, be gentle. Don't press too hard, or you might create new scratches. Just use light, even pressure. Once you finish with 600 grit, there shouldn't be any deep scratches left. Now it's time to polish with 1000 to 1500 grit until the surface starts looking clearer. Remember to keep the table clean and spray water on the ball regularly during polishing. As you work through the finer grits, you'll notice the surface getting clearer and smoother. That's exactly what you want. Now switch to 2000 grit, followed by 5000 grit for the finishing touches. This stage takes about 20 minutes, and it's worth spending a little more time here to really dial in the clarity. The better you polish at this stage, the clearer and more transparent the final piece will be. After sanding, the sphere should look nearly see-through, though it might still have a slightly matted look. To bring out that full shine, we'll use the 3-inch cotton buffing wheel. Attach it to the base and add a little polishing paste to the wheel. When you're polishing a ball, Use the edge of the cotton wheel and keep rotating the sphere so every area gets even contact. You might see a bit of smoke from the friction. Don't panic. That's normal at high speeds. If it happens, just stop, let the machine and piece cool down, then keep going. No need to spray water during this step. If the polish on the ball or wheel dries out, just add a little more. This final polishing stage usually takes around 15 minutes. To check if polishing is complete, use a cotton cloth to wipe off any surface residue and examine the finish. Wow, it's already super translucent. If there's still a cloudy spot, just repolish that area a bit more. Now the whole sphere is smooth, round, and crystal clear with no bumps or flaws because we had to polish multiple surfaces. This one took 2 hours from start to finish. So there you have it. These are the 3 most common types of resin pieces that need polishing: flat, small, and curved. And yes, even column-shaped pieces can be polished smooth using the same tool. And the best part is that this machine isn't just for resin. It also works great on wood, glass, metal, ceramic, acrylic, plastic, and more. Now let's unbox the 4-in-1 polishing kit and see what's inside. First, you'll find a detailed instruction manual. The kit includes the polisher's host, which comes with a 2-inch sandpaper disc designed to hold a replaceable buffer pad. On one side of the host, there's a screen and 2 buttons to check the power status and adjust the speed. Flip it over and you'll see 2 ports. The round hole at the top for the DC plug, so you can use it continuously, while the flat port on the side is for charging. Once charged, the machine runs wirelessly for 1.5 to 2 hours, making it super portable. It's lightweight and easy to use one-handed. You get 2 buffer pads in 2 sizes, 2 inches and 3 inches, each paired with a matching sandpaper disc. The white side of the buffer pad sticks right onto the sandpaper disc. The buffer disc acts as a cushion while sanding, preventing too much pressure and protecting the machine. Plus, its flexibility helps with curved surfaces. The 3-inch disc is perfect for larger areas, while the 2-inch is great for smaller spots. This is a 3-inch cotton buffing wheel. Just add a bit of polishing paste and you're ready to refine your piece for a glossy, transparent finish. Here's a 3-inch grinding wheel, ideal for trimming sharp edges or removing excess resin. You also get 2 sets of sandpaper, each paired with a sandpaper disc. They come in different grits, and we've explained how to use them during the sanding process. This is the DC adapter. The flat one is the charging cable. These 2 sockets are designed distinctly to make it easy to tell them apart. This is a dust cover that helps prevent splashing during sanding. It's designed to be used together with the base of the bracket. Speaking of the base, it holds the host securely. Just press the side switch to open the bracket and place the polisher inside. The machine and base have a built-in locking design to keep everything steady. At the bottom, there are 6 non-slip silicone suction feet to grip your table and keep things stable during use. Please note, do not rinse the base with water. It could rust. Just wipe it down with a damp cloth after use. This detachable placement platform holds your resin piece while polishing, so you don't have to hold them. Press the switch here to remove it. Now, attach the dust cover by clicking it into the matching socket. It snaps right in and stays put. That brings us to the end of our polishing tutorial. If you've made it this far, you're definitely a true resin art lover. And as a thank you, we'll be picking one lucky follower from the comments to win a 4-in-1 polishing kit of your own. Wishing you lots of creativity and beautiful projects ahead on your resin journey. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!